Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edi vedasyama ani stha shrutam me ma prahasihi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami Ritam vadishyami, satyam vadishyami, tanmamavatu, tadvaktaramavatu, avatu mam, avatu vaktaram, avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. When I was reading, when we read mantras of this kind of Shanti Pathas and understand the meaning, it's always a new insight comes, but always. Yeah? This time it came in a very unusual insight. Why they repeat, I shall speak the truth, I shall speak the truth twice. Yeah? Once I shall speak the dynamic truth, Ritam Vadishyami, Satyam Vadishyami, I shall speak the static truth. And never could understand this totally, left it kind of waiting for the answer. And now I understood that to speak the static truth is not really to be true. It's a hypocrisy. You can speak everything what is true and live totally different life. Yeah? But when you speak static truth, this truth eternal, and truth dynamic together express. Dynamic means appropriate to its time and space, truth. Then it becomes actual. So you need both. You can't do one. Rhythm would be better, but then you can lose the track of the bigger vision of the. So if you have both, so to say, the psychic truth and the spiritual truth, or Jivatma and Antaratma truth, both are needed. Yeah. So then it is, if we express that, then we are on the right track.
What would be an example of the dynamic truth?
It is to be true in the moment of time, yeah, and space, which is quite a task, yes, because you have to be always fresh and new and not just remember what you learned, but rediscover in the moment of time that truth, static truth, yeah, in a new application, in new insight.
Yes.
If
Okay.
you don't do that work, then you become a hypocrite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Stagnant also.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. And today we will have I was working on this, the myth of lost words of
Love
light.
this. Love this.
All right.
So nice. Beautiful.
Right. This is the major myth, yeah, together with Usha, the dawn. The dawn and night we already touched upon. Since it is introductory course, I cannot go deeper. I sent you the article where there are more things for you to ponder about on. So here is what Sri Aurobindo says. The conception of the dawn and the legend of Angirasas are at the very heart of the Vedic cult and may almost be considered as the key to the secret of the significance of Veda. So what is this secret? Yeah, sure. He speaks about secret of the Veda. So the legend of Angirasa Rishis is that there are 7 Rishis. The 7 Rishis in the language of the Veda are the 7 sons or 7 rays or flames of Brihaspati, the Lord of the Divine Word. All the Rishis are actually, and this is what I must say, all of them are the flames and rays and of the creator of Brahmanaspati or Brihaspati. They are the sons. They are the actions of the spirit within, in the heart. And even in the Rig Veda, if you look into how Rig Veda is organized, that they always write who is Rishi, who is Devata, and what is Chandas. Yes? 3 things are written constantly. And there you will see that Rishis anybody can be a Rishi. So Indra, Rishi, Indra. How Indra can be Rishi? Because he speaks the word. The one who speaks the word is the Rishi. It's not some kind of a human being, composer of the hymn. It is the one who says the mantra. Or who expresses the truth through himself. This idea to, shall I speak the truth? May I speak the truth? I shall speak the truth. This means, what is speaking? Speaking is expressing in consciousness the truth. And this is speaking, self-expression, expression of the deeper, higher consciousness in us. And we know about this, yes. So we can say something which our surface consciousness may, be surprised with or be enlightened. Suddenly we said the phrase which enlightens ourselves, so to say. It's not necessarily that we do it only for others. We can do it for ourselves also. Because truth is always something which tries to reach out, to reach to the surface through us. So we allow that process of formulation of the truth through us to reach to the surface, and we wonder about it, and we are rejoicing. For this joy is coming from the truth reaching to the surface. And then we communicate it to others. First of all, we communicate it to our surface being, which is also others. So they may listen to it, and our surface being also listens to it. We are both listeners and speakers at the same time. So this is something about the word and about the Rishis, that Rishis are expressing the truth. That means bringing it from the hidden level of being or truth within to the surface and manifesting it in some form. So these 7 flames, 7 rays of Brihaspati. Why 7? Because there are 7 worlds, and all the worlds can be expressed, expressed in manifestation. So the Brihaspati is that Lord of the Divine Word who brings this forward. He is known also as Brahma Swayambhu or Prajapati in the later literature, the creator of the world. How he created, he turned in different directions and pronounced the word, and the world came into being. From Brahmanas we know about this. They are also depicted as sons of Agni, or lusters of the dawn, who seek to liberate the hidden sun, the luminous herds of the sun, from the inconscient chaos of darkness, thus creating a new heaven. Now, with this cave of darkness, we have to kind of look into today. It is actually the secret of the Veda, that within the cave of darkness, there are hidden treasures, spiritual treasures, which we have to liberate within ourselves. So within this shell, within this body, unconscious body, some hidden treasures are to be discovered. and brought forward. And that's, as we spoke about the word, it has to be brought to the surface. So with the help of Indra, the Lord of the Divine Mind, striking with his Vajra, lightning of intuition, piercing the darkness, and Brihaspati roaring the word, he is roaring like a bull, and with the help of many other godheads, Soma also is there, Ashvins are there, they destroy and Maruts, the lords of the storm, they destroy the subconscious cave, Vala. Vala is the name of this cave, and free the divine treasures hidden and held captive by the darkness and by the anti-divine forces called panis. It's a very strong term, anti-divine, for panis, because panis are not really anti-divine. Sri Aurobindo explains this in The Secret of the Veda. They can't do otherwise. They can't act in a different way. So panis, we will have a special kind of time for them. These are
the senses. I think he says they are the senses, the sensory organs.
Right. They are the senses of action. Yes, correct. Yeah. Karmendriyas in Sankhya. Yes. So these 5 karmendriyas in Sankhya, which are word, hands, the legs, and procreatory and excretory organs, are the 5 major, corresponding to 5 Pancha Mahabhutani, indriyas of action, karmendriyas called in Sanskrit. So these 5 are growing from the inconscient, from matter. They grew up from matter, like hands. Like tongue was formed to articulate the word. Like the procreation organ, excretions organs are formed to kind of absorb and to cast out what is unnecessary, and also to cast a seed to procreate. So all this is the activities of the lower matter, which grew up with growing consciousness, because consciousness is to be supported in a material form, and they do not know how to act in the divine way. They simply don't know. They even would try, but they can't. So there is the whole myth about them. We spoke about this in a different language. We spoke about the impossibility of being perceptive and active. You remember this, most probably. So this, to be active is exactly this karmendriyas, yes? Whenever we become active in the body, we start walking or doing something with the hands or talking or any other activities, then we are losing that inner contact. It's a psychological problem for us. We cannot be perceptive, deeply perceptive, and active at the same time in the body. So that's why when we think, we freeze. That's why we have this, Rodin, you remember, the thinker. So what is he doing? He is frozen in his movement. He doesn't want to move. Why? Because he is deepening his perception. So to deepen the perception, you have to stop moving physically. That's why all this yoga, the Hatha yoga, was developed to create a kind of a comfortable position for meditation. So that your body would not be, stiffened or tired or uncomfortable if you start meditating and go for hours deep. So your body may be stiffened and you will be very uncomfortable and will not be able to meditate. So to be sitting comfortably in one position, in the lotus or whatever position, for hours, even to lie down for hours on the back, is very difficult. So you need to work with your physical body to make that possibility for yourself to deepen your perception. So what we do, we close our eyes in meditation, yes? We sit immobile, we stop even breathing. We stop thinking as far as we can. We kind of pacify the mind, make it calm, and then we can perceive, we can go deeper. But the moment we start thinking, talking, moving, hands, walking, everything is fading away, that connection. So how to be both, yeah, perceptive and active, we spoke about this. So that is karma yoga. Karma yoga found a way. This is the trick which Krishna offers us. You can be active and find yourself. This is a knowledge which is profound. We don't really value it because we don't practice it totally. But if we start practicing, really practicing, like not attaching oneself to the fruit of action, which is quite a difficult thing. But if you start practicing it, you will see that it works. It really works. So these panis are the karmendriyas which steal our inner light. Whenever we receive some insight, some inner truth, they immediately, by the activities of the body, they steal it and store it in the subconscious cave. They are the traffickers and the traders. The interesting words, they're traffickers, traders, because they sell this light to aggrandize themselves, so to say, to make themselves more important, as it is now in the world with money. Yeah? So the dwarfs can become the giant dwarfs because they have a lot of money. But there is no consciousness in them. So they can become big and important by selling something, the value of which they do not recognize. So panis do not know the value of that light, but then they know that it is valuable. They don't know what it is about, but they know that it is very good to sell, to exchange, to make themselves important. Yes, you can see this in our life also psychologically, that we many times sell something we do not know the value of, but we know that it will bring us some points. Um, so the very fact that the divine life, a light, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but
No,
I
no,
have
please do.
in the earlier passage, it said that they destroy the subconscious. If we can just go back to the earlier slide. Yeah, here it says they destroy the subconscious cave vala. How do they destroy the subconscious cave? I know
Yeah,
Indra strikes.
yeah, by the
Night
lightning,
time.
Indra destroys it,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So it falls, right? It is.
What does this mean? Destruction of the subconscious cave. Does it mean that the subconscious changes its nature completely?
It
Gives
means,
up the pleasure?
yes, it means actually the realization of immortality, basically. It's the
Okay.
highest
Happiness.
realization possible. It's not a small thing. We're speaking in terms of mythological terms, yes, and maybe a little bit psychological, but truly speaking, to release those hidden treasures within the subconscious cave, stolen by Karmendrias over the long period of evolution, and they are always stealing, always storing there. It's like every time we receive some insight, yeah, some kind of beautiful descent or light, and you see after some time it disappears because we start acting, we forget, we become practical, so called. Yeah? Mother hated this word, practical against spiritual. Yeah? Somebody asked her about this. Can you tell us something practical? You always speak spiritual. She says, you think that spiritual is not practical? Surprisingly, in the ashram, they didn't expect such a turn of events. They thought they were very clever. Practical. Practical means unconscious, mechanical. Can you tell us something mechanical we can do without switching on consciousness? Yeah, that's what people usually understand by practical. But to be conscious is not practical, really. So here it's a very good insight. So anytime we receive something, we see how it fades away. Why it fades away? Because panis are stealing it. So where do they put it? Somewhere in the subconscious cave, which we have to reach to and to break through and liberate those treasures. The moment we do that, there is no more bottom and top. Yeah, everywhere there is light, the supernal light, that supreme light, and that means we reached immortality. There is no more difference between active and perceptive, between consciousness and power. The supramental, with its oneness of consciousness and power, is established. Power reflects consciousness immediately, without any delay, without stealing, without hiding. Why we have this delay, constant delay in our actions between what we want and what we do and what we can, there is a constant delay. So you have to make a lot of effort to realize something. Why? Because of this delay. That light, which is very effective for power, is stolen and hidden. Yeah? So we are in this situation like in a bad dream of some kind, you know.
So Sri Aurobindo says that the subconscious becomes the supramental.
Yeah, well, it releases that hidden light, yes.
Yeah, the supramental comes down and becomes, subconscious disappears.
Yeah, subconscious becomes the supermind in its action, in its. So in a way, maybe all the elements of the subconscious which are there will find their place and effective. So it will not disappear totally as such. Yeah, it won't be only one supramental everywhere, but it will be supramentalized. Let us say this way, because the creation would disappear if supermind will take over. Yeah, that means there will be no time and space anymore. It's not true. The time and space will remain, but it will be very different. And even maybe what we call suffering and whatever we know as suffering will remain, yeah? But with the divine touch, it changes into something else. Yeah? It's a intense divine suffering, something very different suffering. Sri Aurobindo actually describes this when the Lord gives to Savitri all the boons, you remember, and he says that in your suffering and in your disasters you will feel my touch, my presence, and so on. This is something to think of. So the world will not outwardly change into some other world. There will be a shift in consciousness, yeah? And a capacity of the world to manifest the divine consciousness. So the suffering is nothing but the delight, yeah, as we know, which is narrowed by consciousness. So if delight is narrowed by consciousness, it becomes suffering because it cannot express fully that intensity of delight. So it causes suffering and pain. So, and once that consciousness is widened, then it should disappear in our mind, but it will not. It will stay, but in another quality. Maybe I'm kind of driven away with this. Okay, I'm going forward. So the very fact that the divine light is hidden within the darkness of inconscient and has to be liberated by the divine powers from above, usually from above, and thus unite the above and the below is the secret of the Veda. Basically, this is the secret, that within the darkness there is the light. There is no other secret. And that light within the darkness has to be liberated. By what? By the light which is above, which is pure light, uninvolved. The aim of the Vedic yajna, sacrifice, where Rodasi, heaven and earth, two luminous firmaments of heaven and earth become equal and one. The power and knowledge become one. Without this recovery of the light within the darkness, there is no sacrifice, no real achievement, no spiritual transformation. So the uninvolved and involved light of the divine are to join in the middle world and thus secure the divine manifestation. These are my words. They're clumsy a bit. I will go ahead. So, what is this recovery of the sun, or the secret of the Veda? There's a sun hidden in the darkness. These are Sri Aurobindo's words. It is also the recovery of the sun that was laying in the darkness. For it is said that the sun, that truth, was the thing found by Indra and the Angirasas in the cave of the Panis. By the rending of that cave, the herds of the divine dawn, which are the rays of the sun of truth, ascend the hill of being, and the sun itself ascends to the luminous upper ocean of the divine existence, led over it by the thinkers like a ship over the waters, till it reaches its farthest shore. So beautiful, like the Lord of the Rings or some kind. The Panis, who conceal the herds, the masters of the nether cave or cavern, are a class of Dasyus who are in the Vedic symbolism set in opposition to the Aryan gods and Aryan seers and workers. Aryan is he who does the work of sacrifice, finds the sacred word of illumination, desires the gods, and increases them, and is increased by them into the largeness of the true existence. He is the warrior of the light and the traveler to the truth. So beautiful, the warrior of the light and the traveler to the truth. The Dasya is the undivine being who does no sacrifice, amasses a wealth he cannot rightly use because he cannot speak the word or mentalize this superconscious truth. This is what the word is doing. It is mentalizing the superconscious truth. It brings that inner truth to the surface mind to understand. That's what we spoke today about. And Panis and Dasyus cannot do this. He hates the word, the gods, and the sacrifice, and gives nothing of himself to the higher existences, but robs and withholds his wealth from the Aryan. He is the thief, the enemy, the wolf, the devourer, the divider, the obstructor, the confiner. The Dasyas are powers of darkness and ignorance who oppose the seeker of truth and immortality. The gods are the powers of light, the children of infinity, forms and personalities of the one Godhead, who by their help and by their growth and human workings in man raise him to the truth and the immortality. Thus the interpretation of Angirasa's myth gives us the key to the whole secret of the Veda. It's all here on one slide. This is the whole meaning.
So, Vladimir, this
Yes.
means all this is inside us.
Yes.
And the
Inside and outside. Yes, both.
And by raising our consciousness higher and higher, we invoke Agni and the gods, and they come and take away the darkness from us.
Yeah, and assist us in our ascent. Yes. They assist us, they enlarge us, they bring more capacity, with which we can do it. Yeah. Can endure it. Right. Okay, let's move ahead. So the divine rishis and human forefathers. Something interesting here also, which is much more complex. It looks like very simple solution, but it's more complex. The divine rishis Angirasas, Rishayo Divyah, divine rishis literally, on the one hand symbolize and preside over certain psychological powers and workings like the gods. And these are the powers of the word formation, the truth, yes, expressing itself through the being, through the gods, human beings, through whoever. Whoever can express the truth, that is the Angirasa Rishi working through us, assisting us. And on the other hand, they symbolize the human fathers, Pitaro Manushyaha, who are also described as human beings, or at least human powers that have conquered immortality by the work, have attained the goal, and are invoked to assist a later mortal race in the same divine achievement. So there are divine rishis, so to say, the powers, the flames of Brihaspati, and the rays, and there are also the human rishis, human fathers, ancestors, who actually embodied it or realized it through the sacrifice and can assist human beings. That's how rishis came to earth. So it is for the great human journey that they are invoked, and it is the human journey from the mortality to the immortality, from the falsehood to the truth, that the ancestors accomplished, opening the way to their descendants. So it was done in the past, and it will be done in the future. And it is done now. It's constantly being done. There's nothing else here to do, actually. Only this journey from mortality to immortality. All the rest are the means for this. So here I made a kind of bullet points for myself, not to overload you with quotations. Devayana and Pitriyana. You can see immediately the divine rishis and the Pitris, yes? Manushya, Pitarach. So the human forefathers. So there are two paths of Devayana and Pitriyana described from the times immemorial, actually. It's from the Vedic, from Samhitas onwards. So we can see them in Brahmanas, we can see even in the Gita. Even Gita mentions in the 8th chapter these two. Yeah? In the symbolic or in the ritualistic sense, it is like the year is divided into two halves. Yes, the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun, so to say. So the first half of the year, starting from the winter solstice towards the summer solstice and other way. So the rising and setting of the sun. This rising is Devayana, setting is Pitriyana. In a simple way. So a day and night, the same thing. Yeah? The night will be Pitriyana, the day will be Devayana. There is always this division on the light and darkness, on the rising of the light and the diminishing of the light, even within the months. And so these divisions into two halves, breathing in and breathing out, let us say. Devayana is the path of the soul to the source, the sun, it is called. So from the fire we are rising to the day, from the day to the lightest part, half of the month, from the lighter half of the month to the lighter half of the year, and from there we come to the sun and entering the sun. Sun is our gateway to no return. This is Devayana. Pitriyana is different. It moves from the darkness to the half, from the night to the darker half of the month, from the darker half of the month to the darker half of the year, and from there it moves to the moon. And on the moon we are being eaten up by the devatas who invested into our bodies, into our mental, vital, and physical body. We share with them all our experiences, give to them all our findings, realizations, fulfillments, so to say. They take it away, and being naked, being eaten up, void of our previous experiences, we fall back to earth, and again start our journey, collecting soma. We collect soma, we bring soma to the gods, to the devatas who invested into our physical, vital, and mental bodies. So all our bodies are formed from this universal matter, mental, vital, and physical nature. And so we are born in a particular time, in particular lagna, and in that lagna, all these devatas which are looking at us in that moment, they are contributors. So we are built in a specific manner of the contribution of the cosmos. And we are evolving and developing this instrumentation for the spirit on one side, and on the other, Devayana, the soul in us growing by this interaction with these bodies, and that is Devayana. So we have simultaneous double evolution of the body and of the soul. Yeah, it's quite obvious, I'm clear. One is going through reincarnation, that is the soul. Other goes through the genetic code. So we, through our children have children. So we uninterrupted evolution of beings going on. We are passing all our achievements through the modification in the genetic code to our children. Yeah? So we kind of evolve. That's what Darwinist evolution is about. Yeah, it's movement forward. So my grandchildren will be my parents in the future, so to say. So I will be reincarnating over some time, and my investment today will pay back in the future. So basically, if I look in the time frame, it's like time frame is spread, like my body is spread in time. So I am now, through my children, invest through that genetic code or even epigenetics with all those slight modifications in which are taken not totally. It's not a chemical change yet. It's still hanging there around, but slowly it starts modifying the genetics, where to open, how to open, the dynamics of genetics, so that the next body is more and more suitable to the experiences which I required in my manifestation. So, and this input of all the humanity is building one body at the end, possibilities of instruments to be more responsive to the spirit. So my soul, when it comes next time, will get better instruments, more receptive. And then again, he contributes to their development, learns from them also, and evolves by itself by learning from them what to do, how to proceed, again pushes forward the whole machine, and then again. So it is like this. It's amazing enterprise of the spirit, of evolution of consciousness. So these are Devayana and Pitriyana. This is how they work together. One is holding the ground in the embodied state. Other is just plunging in, pushing it forward, pushing spirit. And both are evolving and developing. So Pitriyana is the path of mental, vital, and physical nature to its fulfillment, to immortality. It is in the Pitriyana that immortality has to be achieved. Yeah? The instruments have to become immortal. That subconscious cave has to be broken, and the hidden treasures have to reveal themselves. Sun and Grahas ruled by Vishnu on one side, this is Devayana. It's interesting from the Jyotisha perspective. Moon and Nakshatras ruled by Shiva. It is the Pitriyana, so to say. So we have also Brihaspati and Shukracharya, as you know, the two acharyas of the gods and asuras. Yeah? The Brihaspati is the Jupiter, and Shukracharya is the Venus. Yeah? Venus and Jupiter, Thursday and Friday are always in contradiction. And it is quite clear. So Brihaspati is the lord of Angirasa Rishis. This is important. Yeah? And Shukracharya is the he is Bhargava, actually. He belongs to Bhargava Rishis, to the ancient Rishis. I don't remember whether we spoke about this, about two different types.
You spoke about it in the other class.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Earlier class, which I had attended.
Okay, okay. Then maybe we don't need to repeat. But the point is
that...
It's
good to repeat it, Vladimir. These new people, I don't think they know.
All right. All right.
I don't know. I'm just assuming they don't know, but it's always nice to hear it.
Yeah, it is. And it is always something new because this is a new situation, new context, and there is so much new every time coming up from this understanding of these two. There are two different double poise of Agni, Yajatra and Priya. This is what it is about. The Agni is worshipped in two different forms. So one, actually it's triple Agni, but in the Rig Veda it is dual, so to say. One is the Agni hidden in nature, and this is Bhargava Rishis, the ancient Rishis. The Rishis, the Purva Rishaya, so to say, who did Soma Yagas. Soma Yagas are the sacrifices made by the means of nature. So by the means of nature, you can evolve and become more and more capable of embodying the divine. No? So there is a fire within the nature which is used as a will, as a power, which can be used for tapasya, tapasvins. You know? You can concentrate your willpower, saying that I will never eat ice cream again. You know? And you know what they were doing, Rishis and those ascetics, tapasvins? They were collecting the berries, and very sweet and ripe berries, and they were putting these berries in front of themselves and never touching them. You know? So they were training their willpower. They were hungry to hell. They were dying from hunger, but they collected them, put them in front. And it reminds me of the anecdote. There was one person in ashram who was always inviting us, me especially, and he had so many cakes and all kind of very nice sweets, all the best, the most expensive sweets, so many. And he said, eat, eat, eat. And I said, why don't you eat? I'm diabetic, he said. So he was watching me eating it and was enjoying it somehow. So there's a perverse joy also in it.
Was eating it through you.
Yes, kind of, yes. He had an opportunity to see that it is still possible. Yeah. So this was an anecdote. It has nothing to do with tapasvins. Tapasvins are much more severe. They are really having a power that power grows so strong that it can destroy the universe, the order of things. You know? And we learn about this in the Puranas, and in Brahmanas we hear that tapasvins are doing tapas so that there is a smoke coming to heaven, and the gods are alarmed that this is the end of the world. They have to come down and destruct them with something. Usually it is Apsaras are sent to destruct the Rishis. So Apsaras are starting dancing and so on and so forth. And the Rishi somehow is drawn to that beauty, heavenly beauty, and he loses his power and concentration, and then the world again becomes normal. So this tapas is a very great power and can be used for the improvement or the evolution of consciousness. And the other is the power of surrender or love for the divine. And this is Brihaspati's love from the heart, and Shukracharya is that Bhargava, is the Soma Yaga of the sacrifices made by nature, for the sake of nature's improvement. By the way, the whole world is living mainly by these older sacrifices, not through surrender to the divine, yes, but through the effort, personal effort, will. Yeah, if you want to become a good pianist, you have to play 6 hours a day, yeah, for many years. So this is a great sacrifice, physical sacrifice, time sacrifice, yeah, will sacrifice, which makes you something which you were not before. This is by the means of nature, you develop nature. This is a major power of today, and always was there. But there is another way. It is to surrender to the divine and to accept whatever. Yeah? And the growth of consciousness will be very differently done. So Mother mentions the two paths of the monkey, you remember, baby monkey and baby cat. Yeah? There are two different ways of doing the divine work. One is monkey baby, which is holding to the mother, and the other is a kitten, which is not holding to the mother. Mother is carrying the kitten. And if mother drops, kitten falls. Kitten is not responsible whether mother drops or not. Yeah? And in the monkey case, monkey has to hold. If monkey drops, mother is not responsible. And mother says between these two, tapasya and surrender, there is no common ground. They are not never come together. You have to choose either this or that. You cannot do tapasya and surrender. You cannot do your personal effort and surrender because you demand from the personal effort, from the personal will, your own realization. And from surrender, you refuse your own and you accept whatever the divine wills. The other day somebody asked the mother, I read, and I put it on the Facebook, is it that something about our personal effort and that we do yoga mostly for ourselves? Yeah, mother many times said, no, we are not doing it for ourselves. It is not for us. It is for the divine. For the divine we do everything. This is the surrender. For ourselves is tapasya. Can we do this for the divine, really? Only for the divine? Not ourselves? This is a big shift. So these Angirasa and Bhargavas are everywhere. It's not only in the Rig Veda. You find it in the Bible. We spoke about this. Abraham trying to sacrifice his son. This is by the means of nature to receive some improvement in nature. He ties his son to the stone and ready to slaughter him as a sacrificial, animal. And then he hears the voice of the Lord saying, no, I don't need the body of your son. Bring me the lamb pure. A lamb pure is the psychic love. This is the symbol of the psychic being. I don't need your effort in nature. Bring me this devotion in the heart. Yeah? So this was the shift. So Bhargavas are ancient rishis. And there was the shift to Brihaspati. Brihaspati and Angirasa are younger rishis. So they are both priests of the fire, because fire is that energy which is burning in nature and also flaming within our heart. This we have to understand. Once we understand this, then we see Shiva and Vishnu very differently. We understand who does what, why sun and grahas are in Parashara, this Jyotisha. He speaks about sun and grahas, and he says if you want to know about nakshatras, you have to go to somebody else. And he starts with Vishnu praising Narayana. We immediately understand many, many things in the system, in the Hinduism. These two movements, one is flame in the heart, other is Kundalini Shakti. Shakti within that sexual center in us, which is the very energy of our physical life here. And in Ayurveda, they consider that power to be the major drive of our life, as you know, yes? As long as it is there, we live. Yeah? So here you see so much of this Devayana and Pitriyana involved. One is building the instruments, the body, and it is built on that particular formation of the ancient yoga. And the Devayana is a new shift, new drift, and Brihaspati is a new god, actually. Yeah? Building a new world. Angirasa, Rishis, and Bhargava. Sri Aurobindo mentions them as in the secret of the Veda, in the other context. Okay, something about anti-divine forces. To finish, oh wow, time is, I'm driven away again somewhere into another worlds. Maybe continue next time. What do you think? If you have some questions, please do. Because I'm talking one way and not registering myself anymore. Sorry. I should have registered, kind of reflected through you.
Vladimir, we can talk something more about Devyana and Pitriyana.
Oh, there is much to say. Yes, I didn't even scratch the surface really. Pitriyana has a Panchagni Vidya ritual, how the soul is traveling to the moon, what is happening on the moon, through the back to the plants. Soma in the plant's seed cast into woman. Woman brings a child is fed by the woman inside, outside, growing and then being sacrificed in the flame at the end, going to the moon. This circle is partially described in the Aitareya Upanishad, half of it. Yes, we read it in Aitareya. Those who studied Aitareya with me, they know that Pitriyana, how we are born as the bodies, not as souls. Soul has another track. So these two tracks come together. You know? The bodies are carried out by the nature, by the bigger cosmos, by the nakshatras, constellations around us, and devatas behind them, who are bringing these particular psychological qualities. You see, and not only psychological, even physical. The curly hair, the smell, the skin, everything incredible. The diseases possible, and the weaknesses, strong parts, everything is already preordained. And since we do not believe in the soul so much, but so much in the body, we believe that that is what destiny is about. But there is also the soul, and with its own intention, which is using this as instrumentation for the achievement of its own growth. Yeah? So if we put these two together, we have the full picture. But if we keep only one, the bodies, the mental, vital, and physical body, and think that this is the human being, then this is only a half of the answer. There's another half, the Devayana, the soul wanting something. That's why in our course we speak about Svabhava. We have to discover that intention in us, deeper intention, why we are here, we are here doing, what we are here for. Yeah? That major intention. You remember in your childhood you wanted something. You have to recover that want. It may be in a symbolic form. Like when I saw the tuba, for example, I was thinking about myself in the orchestra tuba, you know, this golden. And I thought, wow, look how beautiful this solo is in this orchestra. So I wanted to be that tuba solo. But there is a correspondence to some kind of need of the intention of the soul coming, you know. You want to be in the orchestra somewhere to play a solo once. Yeah, that golden flame solo. And I can recognize it. Funny. In everything I do, think, want. Even egoistically formed. It is there. It is that tuba player. Oh, funny. So you can find some kind of connection to that inner need of the development of the soul, which is using these instruments, and whatever this context is given to you, the destiny. I was born in Soviet Union with Papa and Mama communists, so it doesn't matter. You see, the solo still can be played. Funny. All right, let us stop here for today, and we can kind of continue from this and see more about, especially I want us to look into this. Yeah, different types of anti-divine forces, on what they represent, and how we are to conquer them. At least briefly, maybe half an hour or 1 hour for these forces. Of course, there's much more time needed to really discover and to describe even these forces. But they are important. Their resistance in nature against transformation. Why it is there? It does its divine work also. It helps us to concentrate the divine force in a particular way. Yeah. Robin is silent. Oh, it's pity. When Robin is speaking, that means it's a good session. But when Robin is silent and when something went.
Oh, no. I was just thinking about that the forces that work against us, you were just saying how they work to our benefit, right? I think you just said that. Doesn't the same thing is happening in the world? The same thing happens in our bodies. I believe, I don't know much about biology and our bodies, but I believe there are forces that work for our benefit in our bodies, and there's also other cells and things that consume the good parts. Isn't that true? White blood cells, red blood cells. So there's this kind of confrontation and conflict in the physical world, in this dualistic world that we exist in. And so I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say about how these benefit us.
Right, lovely. We will keep this perspective. Yes, these are spiritual kind of resistances, yes, of spiritual change. They want to keep us in the formation, to be enslaved by forces of nature, because they live through us, By the way, in our dream course, we will see them in our sleep course. They are coming sometimes, and they demand their place, and they're also disguising themselves into many very nice things, also attractive or curious. They will create curiosity for you to give your attention. Once you give your attention to them, they grab you. So many things we will look into, especially these forces, because this was never done in any course. So I would love to kind of unfold this. And maybe we can also recognize them in the savagery, because in Descent into Night, we see these forces. Sri Aurobindo actually defines them very well. And well, it's a bit a darker work, but what to do? It's not everything all about light.
Look forward to it.
Great. Okay. So then I will close with mantra for today. I'm already 11 minutes over. Sorry for the time. Some people are doing other things. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste.
Namaste.